Hello, and welcome to the Biomass Magazine podcast. I am your host, Anna Simet. On today's episode, we're continuing our International Biomass Conference and Expo panel preview series. And joining us for this edition, we have Wedig Graf Grote and Yves-Marc Schade. Welcome to the podcast.
Hello, thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us, Anna.
Absolutely. I think a great start today, maybe just having you tell us a bit about STELA Drying Technologies and its background.
STELA Drying Technology is a family-owned company here in Bavaria, southeast of Munich in Germany. And over the last 100 years, we are working in drying technology. Starting about agricultural dryers more than 5 decades ago. And since 25 years, we are now working on low temperature belt dryers, especially on biomass and the pellet branch. And over the years, I think we are one of the major technology leaders or technology developers on low temperature belt dryers.
So you said STELA Drying Technologies was incorporated 1 year ago in the US. What has led a 100-year-old family business from Germany to go this extra step?
Well, we have been obviously selling for decades out of Germany worldwide and in combination or in cooperation with local partners. So by now there are 450 plus belt dryers installed around the world and successfully drying everything from herbs to onions to wastewater sludge, and the bulk of it is a biomass in the middle. The owner decided recently, obviously in 2022, that he wanted to have boots on the ground in the US to really focus on this special market, on this special region, with the possibility to have people on site to be able to be faster at customer side and to really understand the needs of our customers to better tailor fit our product to their needs. And there's certainly one addition to that, being that coming over from Germany, from Central Europe, wherever you want to call it, there are cultural differences, I think, which we're not always aware of on both sides of the Atlantic. And it's very good to have bridge builders in between those cultures. And that's what I have been focused on for the last 15 years, and now since 1 year with STELA in the US.
That makes sense. So with STELA solely focusing in low temperature drying in numerous industries worldwide, what are you focusing on in North America?
I would say in North America, we're trying to, you want us to dry something crazy. We'll always be talking to you and be happy to find a way how to do this, as long as it's bulk material. But we really focus at this point on biomass in the US, and we focus on belt drying. So we don't go into the agricultural part where we have, as Yves said, probably 5 decades of experience. But here we want to focus on the low temperature belt drying for industries such as pellet industry and composite panel industries. We've worked with them over the last 20, 25 years successfully, but we are also very much looking into biofuels and biochar, gasification and pyrolysis, where these processes to get into biofuels, for example, they need to get the product dried before they can gasify it. And that's where we come in to use their excess heat and to make sure we can use that in a good way for the entire process.
Okay. So what was the driver for STELA's further development, of a proven technology basically based on usage of a low calorific or better cheap energy? And what makes exhaust air condensation so interesting with belt dryers?
In general, the condensation of exhaust at the drying process is not a really new technology. Recuperation has been used in other applications since years, such as biosolids drying, for example. The requirement in the biomass sector is a little bit different, because here you have specific rough ambient conditions. And you have, especially on belt dryers, a very low temperature limit and a target to make it more efficient on these low temperature levels. And finally, there was a need to somehow to come up with an integrated smart technology to use the condensate in a recycling process in the dryer itself. The condensation of the exhaust air offers the possibility of balancing out the fluctuations on heat demand over a day, over a week, throughout the whole year. And in addition, the condensation of exhaust air is most useful when it's needed on cold days, on colder days. Besides this, the emission mass flow or to the environment can be easily reduced up to 50% by minimizing the exhaust air flows by condensation.
So, kind of a random question. What's the most interesting or challenging biomass material you guys have had in your dryers?
On the lab style, in a laboratory, what we are doing here in Bavaria, from my personal perspective, it would be seaweed. Seaweed is a really very fancy stuff to dry. Unfortunately, we have not this is not placed in an industrial solution. Yeah? What is actually for us a very interesting part is the drying of with RDF material, more or less a sorted black bin.
So essentially, it's plastic and paper waste, right? The black bin is the German trash can.
At the end of the day, it's plastic and paper waste. So everything what is in the black bin and has an energy content in can be dried to be processed to an alternatively fuel.
Both of you are presenting at the upcoming International Biomass Conference and Expo. Do you have anything either of you want to add about your presentations before we wrap up?
Well, I'm trying to come essentially all the way in a very short presentation, but coming all the way from integrating a sawmill with a pellet mill in Germany, which we have done recently, where we added obviously the dryer. And it's a family business again, sawmill that wanted to do pellets by themselves with the idea of using all the waste they have from their sawmilling process and making it into a product. And I'm coming all the way from this idea of integrating processes on one side and see how we can do this in the US. We have recently sold a dryer in the US that's exactly doing the same thing, but I'm trying to bridge the gap between the two cultures and the approach of why people would think about this in the US or in Germany or Central Europe.
Sounds very interesting.
And from my side, I'm doing a more academical presentation on exhaust gas condensation, especially on low temperature belt dryers. Will be a little bit interesting presentation because in all of the unit conversion from SE units to imperial and speaking about HX diagrams and enthalpy charts. So, and putting everything together in, I think I have about 8 to 10 minutes. So I think the questions afterward will be interesting to see how this will develop.
Yeah, Yves will pull the guys to our booth to make sure we have a follow-up conversation, since he will open enough questions that they won't have an answer to yet.
Perfect. Our audience always loves to engage. Well, Wedig and Yves-Marc, thanks so much for joining the podcast. It's been really great chatting with you, and I certainly look forward to seeing you at the upcoming conference.
Yeah, thank you for having us and looking forward to be in Richmond.
Absolutely. And to our listeners, learn more about the International Biomass Conference and Expo being held March 4th through 6th in Richmond, Virginia at www.biomassconference.com. Producers get in free. Hope to see you there. Thanks for tuning into this podcast. Until next time.